On the lookout. Forest fires can spread quickly and do a lot of damage. Keeping a forest safe are forest lookouts. Men and women who spend their summer deep in the woods. They kept a sharp eye out for smoke, are ready to alert firefighters at the first sign of danger. Steve Calling has been a fire lookout since 1990. Even summer, he spends 3 months atop a tower in the Sealway Bitterroot Wilderness area. This huge forest covers parts of Montana and Idaho. Interviewer: how did you become a lookout? Steve: I was hiking and met a wilderness ranger. We were talking about her job, which was to hike around and check trails and campsites. I thought that sounded like a great way to spend the summer. The Forest Service wasn't hiring any rangers, but they had a fire lookout quit that morning. I went into the ranger station and asked if I could be a lookout. That was it. If it was that simple in those days. Interviewer: how is your station like? Are there different kinds? Steve: my lookout is a wooden tower, 50 feet, 15 meters tall, with a cabin on top. It's 24 by 24 feet, 4 by 4 meters, with a peak roof and a deck around the outside of it. It has 4 walls of windows and good lights. I can see 60 to 80 miles, 97 to 129 kilometers in some directions. There are other styles. Some are cabin right on the high ground. Interviewer: how did you travel to and from the station? Steve: it is an 8-mile, 13 kilometers hike. At the beginning of the year, I get a helicopter ride to fly with all of my supplies. Every month they drop off more stuff, and that's almost always with a helicopter. They bring food and things like paint or a new window if I broken one. Interviewer: what is a day at the station like? I wake up when it gets light, which it is what happens when you have 4 walls of windows. First thing in the morning is a good time to take a look around. You might spot a small fire that you can watch for later in the day. After that first look around, I hike about half a mile, 1 kilometer, to get water from a spring. When I make breakfast, the forest ranger will check in the radio and read the weather, wind, height, temperature, and low humidity are the things that worry firefighters the most because they can make fire worse. After breakfast is a good time to take care of repairs or painting in the afternoon. There are more likely to be fire as the day warms up. When my 8-hour duty day is done, I'm free to take a hike or do whatever I want. I'm a musician and I bring several instruments and practice while I watch. If I get a spell of wet weather, I read books in the evening. I come back up, cook dinner, and watch the sunset. Interviewer: besides the radio, do you have another way of talking to people? Steve, cell phones don't work on my tower and I don't have internet. Some other towers have both. Interviewer, what starts forest fire in remote areas? Steve, mostly the weather. When it's hot and dry, the fire danger is higher. In kind of weather, a chain dragging behind a truck can make sparkles. Careless camper or loggers can also start a fire. Sometimes lightning storm with a little rain starts a fire. The rain keeps it small for days or even weeks, and then it popped up. So if we've had any lightning, there more need to watch carefully. Interviewer, once you spot a fire, can you do anything else to help firefighters? Steve, yes, after I caught in a fire, I watch the smoke and look for changes. You can tell things from the color and the amount of smoke. White or lightning blue smoke is a small fire that isn't as hot. As a fire gets bigger and hotter, it goes from white to blue to brown to black. If I can see the base of the fire, I can also talk about how it's moving. Interviewer, have you ever had to escape a fire? Steve, yes, it's happening 3 times. Twice on Bear Mountain Lookout. I had to leave the tower in 1994 and then again in 2020. The tower didn't burn either time. It wasn't really scary until I was flying away in the helicopter afterward. Then the danger I was in hit me. Before that, I need to pay attention to my job and tell firefighters about the fire. Interviewer, how often are there big fires? Steve, more and more often in the last few years because the climate had changed. It's hotter and drier and windier. Oftentimes, they allow small fires to burn because it's a natural part of healing ecosystems. Last summer, everything was so hot and dry that as soon as fires were spotted, they grew very quickly. Interviewer, what's the best thing about being a lookout, and what's the hardest thing? Steve, well, the best thing in living on top of a mountain, I spend the whole summer between the earth and the sky. The days are really long and slow. The light comes sideways into the windows at sunset. It's beautiful. The other really wonderful thing about being a lookout is helping to care for the land, taking care of nature and making sure it's there in the future. Large wild places are important for people to enjoy recreationality. They're also where our drinking waters come from and where oxygen comes from. We need to protect our environment. Having to care for that is a really great feeling. One of the hardest things is coming back to the world after the summer. It's hard to leave my family and friends, but then coming back is so jarring. Everything moves so quickly, and the world feels so busy and loud and cluttered. You get used to the quiet.